So, folks, we seem to be getting bigger and bigger government, more complex, in more and more regulations, in, as Plato said, see good people don't need laws, and bad people will find ways around them. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. And if you look at reliability of systems, there's plenty of information on that. You can see that generally, the more complex a system, the more the reliability is compromised. There's what is known as the mean time between failures. And usually, the mean time between failures is generally affected by the complexity of the system, i.e. the number of parts, because obviously you take the reliability of each individual part and you can do calculations to get the overall reliability of the system. So if you have more and more regulations, it's more and more difficult for everybody to know how they're supposed to be allowed to do and what they're not supposed to do. Then you get to a system where eventually, instead of being nicely ordered and controlled, it's going to literally be so unwieldy that it just will fail. You can see this if you look at the end of the Roman Empire, if you look at the reign of Diocletian, where they had, he actually ended up with two emperors himself, and he shared the power with another emperor. And during his reign, prior to that, they had some quite major problems. I mean, he did do quite a bit to try and stabilise the situation, but basically you had a financial system that was going a bit wobbly, and because of the size of the system, the centralised control, it was actually more prone failure. And eventually, of course, you got the Eastern Empire and the Western Empire. And what we think that some of us have learnt from history, and some of us understand that. And there's actually some good interesting stuff on the Cato Institute website. But generally, if you have a simpler system, then it's going to be more reliable. In other words, with government, the smaller it is, the less chance it is of going wrong, and the more chance there is of the people understanding what it's all about, and things ticking along nicely. And with all these unions, we've got the European Union getting larger, we've got the North American Union, South American Union, African Union, and Asian Union. They're all harmonising regulations between each other, which sounds good. But what you get is one size fits all, you see, because you've got, let's say you've got building regulations. Suppose in Scandinavia and maybe in sort of Canada, you've got regulation for sort of thermal efficiency, so something to do with that anyway. But that may well not be suitable for people living in Florida or down in the Mediterranean, where the conditions are totally different. So you can either have one size fits all, or you can end up with so many subsections and if that and if this and whatever, that in order for one rule to fit everybody, it's got to be so complex, and a lot of the stuff in there is not going to be relevant. It's going to be very difficult for people to know what they need to comply with and what they don't need to comply with, depending on where they are. And it's a bit like if you've got, say, lots of different baskets, if one basket fails, to lose all your eggs. Right? If you go putting all your eggs in one basket, to give an example, let's suppose we had ostrich eggs and we had chicken eggs and we put them all in one big basket. Something happens to that basket that they shoot gas, but the chicken eggs, it might get rolled on by the ostrich eggs, and you might have a bit of disaster. So, as I say, the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket, keep it simple, stupid. Lessons from history, keep the where the empires have got bigger and bigger and bigger, and what happens? They fail. For thousands and thousands of years. Loads and loads of societies have tried it, hasn't worked. What are they doing? Actually, they're trying the same again. Now, you've got modern technology, but we all know how reliable some of that can be. So, anyway, just a few thoughts here. Cheers for now.